was a little noisy up there. We weren't planning on being here, but they worked it out so we could be here. So thanks, guys, for doing that. This is Kevin McGlynn. He is with sales for Maine Beer Company here. Kevin has been with MBC for close to 2 years. He has an educational background in political science and education. Kevin worked in the restaurant industry in Portland as a server and manager in the corner room for 3 years before starting with Maine Beer Company. Kevin's from Rochester, New York, person from away, everybody take note, and moved to Maine from Bozeman, Montana, where he lived for close to 7 years. Let him.
It is a good beer
Absolutely.
town, up and coming beer town, yeah.
So thanks for having us, and take it away.
Cheers.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to give you guys a quick history of Maine Beer Company and kind of how we do things and why we do things the way we do it. The company was founded by Daniel and David Kleban back in 2009. We started in a tiny little garage. We were the first brewery on Industrial Way across from Allagash. Rising Tide moved in right after us, and we were kind of the first two to get that little scene started, having no idea what we would grow into this space we thought was the last space we were ever going to need. And we'll get into it later, but now you'll see the big dirt pit out back. It's not the last space we ever needed, it turns out. But so yeah, back in 2009, Dan and Dave wanted to brew hoppy beers on the East Coast. They loved West Coast style beers, but were tired of them being old when they got here. So they thought that, we can do it on the East Coast. They worked on one recipe for a couple of years before they ever started the brewery, and that was our Peeper Pale Ale, which it came a long way over those first couple of years. So yeah, they started as a 1-barrel brewery. To put that in perspective, these fermenters are 60 barrels. So we had started at 1/60th the size of that. And we were just brewing Peeper for about the first 6 months. And then we slowly started to introduce more beers. We caught a number of fortunate breaks over the years. Dan and Dave would readily admit that. Sometimes just the chips have to fall right for you. We always focused on producing consistent beer, so every beer should taste the same every time you get it. Obviously there's a little fluctuation because you're working with natural products, and they just really wanted to brew consistent, clean, hoppy beers that were fresh, and if they had enough to share, that was going to be great if they could ever sell it. The original business plan is pretty funny. It was started out they wanted to make beer that they like to drink, have fun, and find a way to give back. So they also knew that they wanted to be a certain type of company. They were going to do things right regardless, and if they couldn't do it that way, we're going to shut it down, not do it. It's not worth it. We never had any dreams of growing big or becoming the next Stone Brewing on the West Coast. The original business plan, I believe, called for us to max out at 3,000 barrels, which this year we're producing about 12,200 barrels. So that plan also went out the window. And we've been very careful about growth, and again, the goal not to become big, but to support our employees and to support the people that want to drink our beer. We have slowly grown over the years. So fast forward to 2014, we moved into 2013. Moved into this space, which was none of these tanks were here. That stuff over there is this vast open space, and the stress was a little bit high. They were worried about moving up to Freeport, moving out of Portland. It proved to be a very good move for us. Dan and Dave grew up vacationing in Maine. To circle back, but to get back to the point of people from away, they were born in Michigan and raised in Ohio, and would vacation out here and fell in love with it. So after graduating college, etc., they decided to move to Maine, and Dave owned a couple of other businesses before becoming a financial advisor, and his brother was a lawyer, and they decided they were going to open this brewery. They didn't quit their day jobs, but they wanted to try and do something else, and if it took off, it took off, and if not, they had their day jobs to fall back on. So those day jobs don't currently exist. They are both with us full time. And we now have grown from, it started out just the two brothers, and then eventually they hired on a brewer with more experience than them. And then eventually they hired on Colleen, who is our director of business operations, who's been here since very early on. But we're now at 34 employees. We're at 31 full-time and 3 part-time. So a little bit about the kind of the Do What's Right mission is, you notice our solar panels outside. It was a 2.5, 3 years ago, we knew we were going to need another space. And at that time, they weren't willing to invest the money into growing the business. They wanted to grow our sustainability. So we added the solar display, which gives us about 50% of the electricity that we need, or it offsets 50%. Whatever we don't offset with solar, we offset with the green, wind credits. Sorry, I have a 3-week-old baby that's been up since 2:30 this morning. So if I get a little off topic, sorry. Yeah. I'm a little bit tired at the moment. So yeah, we decided to kind of invest in the way we do. Yeah, it's not going to get any better from what I hear. So what are you going to do? At least he's cute, you know. So yeah, so we decided to invest in the do what's right more. So the solar, we invested in our quality program and more lab equipment, which I can't tell you much more about besides it's expensive and it helps us make quality and consistent beer. Then we also invested in another piece of machinery, which at the time, I think we were the smallest brewery to own one, but it's a centrifuge. And again, it was to help clean up our beer a little bit and just give it that really crisp, clean finish, which has become a hallmark for our beers. And it's just our style. It's what we like to drink. So that's why we do it. But so at that point, then the market demand became greater, and it was time to start talking about this expansion, which is really driven by we want to have a more comfortable space for our customers to come in. Where we're standing right now, the idea is by July of next year, but most likely it's going to be by September of next year, I would assume. This will be our new tasting room where we're currently standing. So all these tanks will be cleared out. The new brewery is going to be on the other side, but we wanted to make it a better experience for people coming to visit us. So you're not all crammed into a room. We can have a space for the brew bus when they come through, because they always come through, bring great folks through, and they're good enough to us that they cram in wherever they can find space on busy days. So it's also a little bit more space for employees and things like that. And we will have the capacity to grow over the next 10 to 20 years. So this is our first year of not brewing any more beer than the year before. So my job has been out on the road saying, sorry, bear with us one more year and there'll be more. Which is, it's a good position to be in, and it's a very fortunate position to be in. But getting back to the do what's right stuff, it was not only the way we brew our beer and our treatment in the environment, but treating the employees with respect. We have an excellent benefits program. All of our health insurance was 100% paid by the company. We have retirement that's just done for you. You have the option to match yourself if you want. We recently increased vacation time because that was some area where we thought we were behind the rest of, maybe not the rest of the beer industry, but other industries. So we've upped people's vacation time, and it's all about having a work-life balance. We love to have a lot of fun. We love kicking back and hanging out with each other at the end of the day, drinking some beers at the end of the bar that you guys all walked by. And if you're not having fun with what you're doing, it just makes going to work harder. And so I come in here on my days off all the time, or come in early, which I can honestly say I never did at any other job. like you're not supposed to be here for another hour. Like, I had nothing else to do, so I figured I like you guys. I'll come hang out, get some work done. But yeah, so we're really excited about next year. That is going to be about 20,000 square feet of brewing facility and office space in the new. And to put that in perspective, this is 6,000 square feet in this building that we're in right now. So it's a pretty large expansion, and it's going to give us the opportunity to grow, and hopefully, we're hoping we don't need to grow beyond that this will allow, after next year, some sort of slow organic growth that we can try and stay to that 5 or 10%, and just grow comfortably enough. Again, we're not trying to be the biggest. We just want to do what we do well, treat our people well, treat the environment well, and that's pretty much us in a nutshell. And honestly, all 34 people here buy in pretty hard to it. And that makes it a lot easier for everybody to get their jobs done. Awesome. We are with the goal of going 100% solar in the future. Be adding some car charging stations. Tesla is kind enough to donate a couple car charging stations for us. And if we can't get to the 100% solar, we'll continue to buy wind credits to offset the rest. We do everything we can to reduce our impact on the environment.
All right. Cheers, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.